Hello? Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me out on YouTube as well? I just want to make sure we have everything going correctly here. I think, yes, there we are seeing it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Handler Hangout with the Monster Handlers. Today, we have Monster Handler Mike, Monster Handler Matt, and Monster Handler Tyson joining us. Monster Handler Jen not here today, but don't worry, she'll be back for the next one. Matt and Tyson, can you give me a hello so that I know that you are there and everything is okay? Oh no, where can you not hear me? Oh no! Let's not look at that. We have technical difficulties here. Just give me 2 seconds. Sorry about that. How do I change that? My microphone I don't think is working for people here. Hello. Can you hear me, Tyson and Matt?
Reading you loud and clear, Monster Handler Mike.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
So you guys may not have realized this, but I already started the show here, and everyone on YouTube could hear me, but you two could not.
I was wondering what was going on. I could see your little you highlighted green there, but I couldn't hear anything.
Yes. So some minor. I introduced you both, and I said, "Why don't you say hello?" And you guys didn't say anything, and that's when I realized, oh, they can't hear me, but the people at home can, because I was getting.
Don't worry, Mike. It was not a coordinated effort between Tyson and myself to make you look foolish. Trust us.
Yes. Well, thank you. And I guess everybody here technically in the Hangout probably didn't hear me either, so only the people on YouTube. You got an exclusive intro. I'll give it to you now here in Discord. Welcome to the Handler Hangout. I'm Monster Handler Mike, and of course we have Matt and Tyson with us as well today. As I said to the folks over on YouTube, Monster Handler Jen not here today, but don't worry, she'll be here next time. Yes, if you've never been here before, this is a monthly sort of Q&A that we do with the community, where you can join the Discord, which I believe is in the YouTube description there. It is Oculo Grove, and there should be a link in the YouTube description, and you can come over here and ask your question. We will also be looking for questions from the chat in YouTube there and taking some when we have some downtime. But if you want to get over here and ask your question, then come on over here into the Discord. Without further ado, I will just pass it over to you, Monster Handler Matt, if there's anything you'd like to say. Otherwise, we can kickstart this thing.
Thank you, Monster Handler Mike. I just wanted to remind everybody that we're going to be doing our best to try and answer as many questions as we can today, but unfortunately, we won't be able to get to all of them. So patience is appreciated as we figure that stuff out, and we'll try and hear from people this time that we haven't necessarily heard from before. But the quickest and easiest way to do that, of course, is that you raise your hand on Discord, and then Monster Handler Mike, who will be facilitating this Handler Hangout, will invite you to the stage, and then you'll have to accept it in order to ask your question. Just wanted to mention as well, you might have mentioned this already, Monster Handler Mike, but this is the last Monster Handler Hangout that we're doing of 2021. We'll be back in 2022, and who knows, we're also thinking of making some changes, some improvements to it. But that's all I guess that we'll say at this time, right, Monster Handler Mike?
Yes, that is correct. We do have some things in the works that we are thinking of doing in the new year. So it's a little teaser, if you will.
Very exciting.
Yes, Tyson, you may not even know
I don't even know
what
about
stuff
it.
we have going on here. So yes,
No.
very exciting. And yeah, without further ado, let's call the first person to the stage here. That is what I was looking for. The requests. We'll go with Tree Squid. You've been invited to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
can.
Loud
Hello.
and clear.
My voice is not that good.
Oh, it sounds great to me.
So my question is, how much does a Wubbox weigh? Like
Ooh,
Like
a
one
good
part-
question.
the whole thing, just like one part. Like
One
how much does a one part of the Wubbox weigh?
Perfect. Thank you. That
Tree
is-
squid, I think that depends on the particular Wubbox part. Of course, there are sort of Wubbox replacement parts that are accessible to the Wubbox from something like the decoration known as the Wubbox stockpile. And of course, a good part of the monster is actually just electricity, and that's energy and less so mass. But of course, it does have those components of it, those vaguely robotic components of it. It's sort of unclear to me whether or not they'll have the normal weight that you would expect of them just looking at them, or if they have sort of special properties, not unlike a neutron star, where it's matter densely packed into one tiny package. So I've never personally had the gall to try and lift a Wubbox before, but I do know that they stand quite tall on the landscape of the island on which they appear.
I
So
would believe it's impossible to lift one of them.
I don't know if,
Like
if
a little
anybody
Wubbox.
could lift one. That they're so heavy.
Yes, beautiful.
Possibly one Wubbox could lift another one, but who knows?
Who knows?
Oh, potentially.
Thank you, Tree Squid, for your question. If you could step
You're
down
welcome.
from the stage, then we can ask the next person
Okay.
here. It was great talking to you. And we do ask, after you asked your question, if you could step down from the stage, that would be great, just to facilitate everything. But next up, so we're going to bring up here Cyber. Cyber, you've been invited to speak.
Hello.
Hello.
So I have like two questions that kind of like intertwine with each other. So as long as it's fine, can I ask like both of them?
Sure. If they're connected, try and make it succinct. And yes, we'll allow it this one time. No more double questions. I'm being very
Okay.
nice to Cyber here.
So first thing was, are the monsters aware of our world that we live in? Like, you know that there have been occurrences where select monsters have seen and or heard things from our world. Some examples being the My Mammoth and My PomPom apps,
Ooh.
in which Mammoth and PomPom can exist in our world via some sort of advanced teleportation. And another example being the Sugabush Island monsters' familiarity and awareness of the song "Lover Money" by Chrisian Bush that originally existed in our world.
I like the deep thing. So that was that both of them in there? Yes.
I mean, that was just one.
Okay.
But the other one is more simple. It's just,
Okay.
is there a significance of the crossover between My Singing Monsters and Chrisian Bush via Sugabush Island?
Great question. I like how you do
Cyber, I'd
connect
be happy
those.
to answer your questions about the monster world's familiarity and awareness of the human world. I think at this point, yes, they are definitely aware that they are part of a large lattice work and infrastructure of various different dimensions. It's sort of unclear whether the human world actually exists as a node on the Stablo Miehuricha world tree of the Big Blue Bubble multiverse, or if it sort of exists separately. If it's, consulting Norse mythology, we're actually on a whole different world tree. We're Midgard and we're on Yggdrasil and stuff like that. So I'm not really sure. But of course, the monsters over time have had increased contact with the human world, and they are aware of it. I don't know if their understanding of what it is fully complete. Maybe they sort of picture us as like, I don't know, maybe even like the creative fabrication of a group of talented people who just want to sort of make an exciting and inspiring world of creativity for the monsters to explore. Maybe it's sort of like the inverse of our relationship with the monster world. I'm not really sure. But of course, Sugabush Island specifically exists in an area of the monster world called the Seam, where the interdimensional energies between the human world and the monster world sort of cross over. And the product of that crossover, of that sort of doubling up of universes, is the Seam and is Sugabush Island, where the collaborative spirit of Chrisian Bush manifests itself in the Sugabush and to a greater extent in the Suga fam.
Beautiful. Thank you, Matt, for that wonderful explanation. I do have a question, and potentially one of the mods can do this for me, or Tyson and Matt, you could also help me out. I do not have the stage moderator ability, so if somebody could give me that, that would be great. Otherwise, Tyson, if maybe you could move people to the audience after they ask their question, that would be great. Next up, we have James _ Christmas tree. James _ Christmas tree.
Hello.
Hello, James.
Hello, James.
How you guys doing? I got just one question for you today, and my question is if there's any future updates or plans for Islands. Is there any thoughts about making it more interactive for chat group? Maybe customizing your monster, for example, if you have a rare epic variant of your monster, mention that, because it just seems like Travel Island just a little left out. I'd like to see some more love to it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, James.
Thank you, James. So questions about future ideas for Tribal Island specifically. You mentioned some very cool and interesting ones there. I wouldn't rule absolutely anything out. We know that the Tribal Island continues to be a source of great effort and energy on the part of several members of the community, and so I can't divulge anything in particular at this time. I am sworn to Monster Handler secrecy, but it's good to know that the community is still interested in us potentially revisiting that feature and adding more stuff in the future. Obviously, one of our goals is to continue to keep the monster world a safe and inclusive place for everybody, so that's been one of the main reasons why we haven't incorporated stuff like, cross-player messaging, that kind of thing in Tribal Island, or like, a tribal chat sort of thing. We want to make sure that it continues to be a safe place for everyone. But of course, there are creative ways to get around that, and maybe that's something that we'll explore in 2022, the futuristic year of 2020. I might have muted myself as I.
You did.
2020.
You left me at a cliffhanger there. I didn't know which 2020 would be at.
I was pulled into the void very briefly. I apologize.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's all good.
So next up, we will invite to speak Star. Star, welcome to the stage. You have been invited. Come on down. Or come on up, I guess. There. Welcome, Star.
Hello.
Hello.
So I have a bit of a weird question, but it involves overall monster biology.
Let's hear it.
Yeah. So from the Beat Hereafter event, in Clavavera's bio, it says that monsters from eras bygone are able to speak to their future ancestors by using Clavavera's unique ability. But here's the question: can monsters pass on from old age to the Beat Hereafter? And if so, how long does a monster live? Because Dia de los Mitos is all about, remembering the dead. So I feel like they would have lifespans.
A great
Excellent question, Star. Yes, very little is known about the Beat Hereafter at this point. It's sort of a closely guarded secret on the part of the patron seasonal of that event, Clavavera, like you mentioned. Obviously, the monster world has existed for a very long time. The Dawn of Fire is way dated back in antiquity, and while we can't necessarily do carbon dating on it. We can potentially do some form of bubblerite dating or some kind of analog there for the monster world. It is my expectation that various generations of monsters have lived over the span of the entirety of the My Singing Monsters chronology, but we do know that monsters are also exceptionally long-lived. You look at examples like Epic Forester, which is basically a common version of that monster, common form that has surpassed all expectations of longevity and made it all the way into like extreme old age. So we do know that monsters live for extraordinarily long time. So everything about that is sort of mysterious and unclear. And I'm sure that there will be more to discover in the future. But at this time, I apologize, Star. I don't really have a super satisfying answer for you. Hopefully, when the Beat Hereafter makes its big debut in 2022, we'll have a chance to learn more.
Excellent. Next, we're inviting to the stage Spungatillo. Welcome.
I said it once before, and I'll say it again. It's Sponge-atillo. This happened last time.
I'm sorry.
Sponge and Repetillo.
Yes. What is your question? Spongatillo.
Now, one thing I'm really curious about is, what's the family name for Ghazt and Xyster and Clakula and Clavavera and another? I think there was another one that had a recently said had like a relation, but I'm probably just going nuts.
No way you're going nuts, Spongatillo. I'm sure that you are correctly remembering that we've mentioned all kinds of monster family names here on Handler Hangout, and historically we've done so on My Singing Monsters Live and across a variety of other platforms. So far as I know, we have not officially designated the family class that both Ghazt and Xyster belong to in any formal capacity, nor have we done that with Clavavera and Clakula. It's really only the Pomely that we and the Sugar Fam that we have these monster family names for. But because this is a kind of question that gets asked very frequently, obviously our best monstro phylogenists are going to have to sit down and obviously come up with some nomenclature here. Monster Handler Tyson, do you have any recommendations as a recently promoted? Congratulations, by the way, Monster Handler Tyson, on your promotion from Monster Handler training to full Monster Handler. Do you have any recommendations on what the family for both Ghazt and Xyster could be called?
This is a high pressure question with very little prep time, and I do not appreciate it. Why don't
apologize profusely? You know
why don't I sit down and I really just go into the lore. I go into their families, and we can maybe reveal them somewhere in the future, maybe on TikTok or on our other socials and stuff like that.
That's a great idea, Monster Handler Tyson. I am officially tasking you with this phylogenetic enterprise. So
because I want to give it justice, you know?
Yes.
I want them to have a good name. I don't want just a name that I come up with the fly right now. You know, those families don't deserve that. So
no.
Don't worry,
under no
everybody.
circumstances did I ever come up with Pomely on the spot.
So don't worry, everyone. The names are in safe hands. I just need a little more time on it.
You know what? I think that's a very scientific answer of you, and I appreciate it, and I'm sure Spongatillo will as well. What's the next question, Monster Handler Mike?
We got our brightest minds on this one. Next up, we have who is it here? Starcam ... You've been invited to the stage. Hello.
So, just to ask, I have seen something a little bit suspicious on your latest post on My Singing Monsters.
Yes.
What's hiding in that gift that Wubbox has?
Oh, you noticed that, did you, Starcam ... I don't know if that's your full username. I apologize. That's all that I can see here on Discord. I don't really know. Obviously, the Festival of Yay is just around the corner, and that's a time of great gift giving and general merriment and joy. So I'm if I had to guess, it's just sort of any sort of run of the mill, mundane, nothing special at all about it kind of gift. Bah!
Nothing to see here.
I'm
Nothing
sure
to
there's
see
nothing
here.
to it. I'm sure also that if you zoomed in a little bit and took a very close look, that you couldn't make a guess at it either. Bah, bah.
Excellent. Let's go with Maxley. Welcome to the stage, Maxley.
Alright, so, in My Singing Monsters Playground, in one of the mini games, I forgot the name of it.
Okay.
There's a Phangler sort of swimming along.
Yes.
Mhm.
But the Phangler has no legs, but it has features of an adult Phangler, like 2 microphones. So I guess, what's the deal with that, I guess?
Excellent question. There.
Good question, Maxley, and great picture there.
I was going to ask you, Matt, if you knew what dinosaur it was.
Looks kind of like maybe it was a Carcharodontosaurus or something in that family. I'm also a dinosaur person in addition to being a monster handler person. Yes, you are correct and astute in noticing that the Phangler there, that I believe it appears in the monster game Tilt-A-Slime, which
I
is
believe
sort
it's
of set
Tilt-A-Slime.
in a water island-like
A very fun
environment. It's sort of unclear. I know we've mentioned in the past that the virtual world of the playground that exists inside the Wubbox, which is where My Singing Monsters Playground is set, is sort of an endless world of possibility because it exists virtually, and it can sort of bring into being anything that the monsters imagine. So this is sort of an iffy one. I've got two. I'm of two minds here. First mind is perhaps that Phangler is just sort of conjured from some monster's memory of what a Phangler looks like, but it's incomplete. It's sort of a selective memory recall kind of situation that they have omitted the legs that would be present, of course, on an adult Phangler. But my second thought here is perhaps we are witnessing for the very first time, because of course Phanglers tend to enjoy swimming very, very deep in the living ocean, much like their monster or their human world kin, anglerfish. So we don't get to see them swimming around that often. We mostly see them up on dry land. It's very possible that this is sort of a heretofore unobserved actual anatomical feature of the adult Phangler, that it can withdraw those limbs in for increased hydrodynamics underwater. So those are my two leading theories. I don't know which one I favor at this point.
Have we done any deep sea exploration?
No, the
I would
pressure.
I just wanted
Sorry,
to.
go ahead.
I was gonna say I will volunteer for the deep sea exploration if that is a thing we can do.
We'll have to secure the funding for that, Tyson. The water pressure of the living ocean is extreme down there. You're gonna want some thick plated glass, my friend.
I think I can handle it, but hey.
Oh, I know you can.
Okay, perfect.
So those are my two theories.
I like it.
Maybe we'll learn more in the future.
Beautiful. I'd like to welcome to the stage Snowflake, Unmeown, Snowflake. Welcome to the stage. Come on up!
Come on, we won't bite.
I like it, Tyson. Because
Unlike a certain epic ma I once knew.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, I wasn't around for that incident, but I've heard a lot about it, and it doesn't sound great.
It was traumatic.
It was very shocking. Okay, well, then, unfortunately, we'll have to go on to somebody else. Let's welcome to the stage Trumpet Octoflower Piano. Trumpet Octoflower Piano.
Hi!
Hello!
Okay. I just want to say, before I ask, I love you guys. You're amazing.
Well, thank you. Thank you for loving My
Stop
Singing
it. We're
Monsters.
blushing. What's your question?
Yeah, I'm blushing so much.
All right. So my first question is if PomPom, Cybop, and Congle are all friends of some sort. Because in Dawn of Fire, Cybop and PomPom say the same lyric on the continent, and in Tribal Island, Congle and PomPom both say, "Come on, let's go" at the same time.
Interesting. A good question.
Great question, Octoflower. I can confirm that while all monsters on some level enjoy friendship with all other monsters that they know, this particular trio does get along gangbusters. And of course, all three of them, if I'm not mistaken, are able to continue hanging out in the contemporary monster world on Air Island. So that gives them an opportunity to groove and to hang out and to chill. And of course, as we've discussed before, the lyrics that those monsters sing are sort of a synthesized form of spoken monstrous that made intelligible to the human ear kind of thing. But that's not all that they say to each other. They often will say, "Hello, how are you?" and "What did you have for lunch today?" and "Would you like to sing a song with me?" And it's just charming. It's just marvelous.
Wonderful. Next up, you know what they say, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Come on down, apple. Right, that's the saying?
I think so.
Okay. You've been invited, apple. There we go. Beautiful. What's your question, Apple?
Okay, so I was thinking about something. So this the Fire Haven, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking before y'all two stream, was there like a quad monster that was meant to be in Fire Haven? Like was and like either enemy or Flamax was meant to be a Fire Haven? Or like in Xyster, Krilby, Helmet, or Bison that was meant to be a Fire Haven?
Great question, Apple. Yes, Firehaven, of course, is interesting because there are many fire quads that sort of compete for, boss status. But when I say compete, it's more like they can sort of rotate out in a roster. Obviously, in the contemporary monster world, like it's very obvious that Entbrad is the boss of Plant Island, and that, for example, Riff is the boss of Air Island. But Firehaven is interesting because all of the fire monsters, and there are many of them, and many quad-element monsters among them, were all hanging out in the safe refuge of Firehaven for so long that the idea of like one singular boss emerging never really took root as an idea. Of course, in game, from a game mechanics standpoint, yes, Tring is the sole boss monster of Firehaven. But canonically, all of those fire monsters that you mentioned, Flamax, Edamimi, and Sizor, and who else? Yelmet, all of those monsters were also all included there, chilling on Firehaven until its recent rediscovery, and fire monsters were reincorporated into the monster world at large.
Great question. Great answer. Next, we're going to welcome Box Fox. Come on down, Box Fox. Or up, I guess. I always want to say come on down, but... You've been selected, Box Fox. You just need to accept. Down there, I believe a little pop-up happens. I'll give you another few seconds here. Matt, what did you have for lunch today?
Are you repeating what I was saying earlier of the conversation that happened between Congle and Cybop and PomPom?
No, I was just asking you so that we had something to discuss here.
Well, I had some raspberry and mango sorbet, if you must know.
Ooh, very fancy.
I'm looking forward to having some actual nutrition this afternoon.
All right, I actually have a question on the actually the theme of apples, because Apple just had a great question. I like green apples, but it seems like no one else does. Is anyone else with me? I'm just asking in general.
Yes, I can confirm
Beautiful.
that green apples are great.
I'm not a lover of the green apple, so I'd love to know what other people think about this. We're gonna invite somebody else up here. Fox, hopefully you can figure out, and maybe we'll get you later. Anthony is Boss YouTube. You've been invited to speak. Let's see if they're able. Excellent, Anthony. What do you think of green apples?
Apples? Actually, personally, I don't like green apples.
Oh, no.
There we go. We got another non-green apple. What is your question? Thank you.
My question is it true that you hid Cold Island Wubbox inside of, like, one of the screens that pops up when you open the game?
What?
Anthony, I have no idea what possibly you could be referring to. I
haven't even been around,
confirm
so I don't
or
even know.
deny anything about that. So far as I know, on the most recent The Big Chill promotion, in which Mirror Cold Island is 50% off for the weekend in preparation for Festival of Yay next week, all I know is that it looks like Wubbox has received a nice little present. And of course, it's sort of rude to peek inside presents, but that sort of seems like what Wubbox is doing. So perhaps Wubbox next week will be able to report what exactly it was that it received as a gift.
Yes. Okay, welcome to the stage, Caddy. Caddy, welcome to the stage. Hello, Caddy.
So, I actually have two questions.
Okay.
So, to you guys' knowledge, is there any monster language translators?
That's a good one. What's your second one?
What inspired you guys to make My Singing Monsters?
Thank you for both of those questions. Once again.
Great questions, Caddy. The first answer, is there a monstrous language translator? No one that can be reliably used all the time. Fortunately for us, a lot of the times the monstrous alphabet sort of aligns pretty closely with the Roman alphabet that's used in English a lot of the time. But of course, there are all different kinds of monstrous representation throughout history. The Stritch Skin bound book is transcribed in ancient Aramonic. There's monstroglyphics. There's all kinds of stuff. So it's really linguistically been keeping us monster handlers on our toes for quite a long time. And with respect to your second question, what inspired us to make My Singing Monsters? Well, we're Big Blue Bubble is a company that values creativity and play, and over the course of its lifetime, we've had lots of really amazing musical artists and composers working here. Obviously, Monster Handler Dave composed like a huge majority of the music in My Singing Monsters, and is now totally timeless and classic, and is a very talented guy, and I think it was important for us to try and incorporate music into one of our games, as we had done with past titles like Thumpies and to a lesser extent Fling-a-Thing and Burn the Rope. So yeah, music has always played a really big part in the games that we want to make.
Excellent. We're going to have a welcome to the stage here, Logan Jake 899. You have been invited to speak, Logan Jake 899. Just need to hit the accept button, and then we'll be able to have you on up here. Oh no!
If you don't accept, we'll have to speak more on lunch. So
I was gonna say, oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Excellent.
Hello, can you hear me?
Can hear you loud and clear.
Oh wow, I can't believe I'm actually talking to you guys. I love your game.
Well, thank you. We're happy to have you here. What's your question?
My question was, will there ever be, like, more ethereal monsters? Like, I know we have Ethereal Island, but will there ever be islands for, like, the single elements, like Plasma Island or Poison Island or something like that?
Interesting. Good question.
Thank you for your question, Logan Jake 899. What's very curious, of course, about Ethereal Island is that, and I believe I revealed this on episode 111 of My Singing Monsters Live, which we spontaneously did there on Extra Life.
It was great.
2021, several weeks ago, is that Ethereal Island sort of served as a proof of concept, as a sandbox, an experiment on the part of the Colossals, the spirits of creation that helped to shape the monster world. And so, unlike the continent, which they later created as sort of like their finalized end product of their creative process, Ethereal Island is obviously unlike many other islands in the monster world, in that it contains 5 base elements and not just the typical 4. So obviously, were we to discover more ethereal monsters in the future, potentially they would have to find some real estate there in the pocket dimension to live. And I'm just not sure if that real estate exists. Obviously, Magical Sanctum now exists in that same pocket dimension. And sort of the unique characteristics of the ethereal family sort of indicate to me that at least as we continue to discover epic ethereal monsters, that may represent the end for now of our investigations into that ethereal family tree. But like anything, never say never. You never know.
I will never say never.
I will never say. I never know. I don't know what I'm saying.
Are you guys repeating the oath that we take at the end when you're sworn in at the end of Monster Handler Academy? I will never say never.
I will never say never.
We put a hand on top of our head and we rub our bellies and we say, "I will never say never." Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Graduation ceremony.
I was just quoting Justin Bieber. I believe he had that song. Exclamation mark.
He borrowed it from Monster Handler Academy.
Yes, of course. Exclamation mark robot_inversion. Welcome to the stage.
Hello?
Hello.
Hold on.
What is your question, robot
Okay.
inversion?
So, back in the Extra Life stream,
Yes.
you could win giveaways. I won one. I got the gift. How does that work? How do you get the monster into the mailbox?
Robot inversion. I thought all those had gone out. If you contact
Oh no, I got it.
Yeah,
I'm
inversion is asking what are the specific mechanics of stuffing a monster inside of a box and then sending it to somebody.
Okay.
I think robot inversion, the way the mailbox works is that it more represents like a token to be redeemed. It's sort of like, hey, we got in touch with a particular specimen of the monster or the object that you need, and we sort of coordinated. It's like a celebrity visit, right? When you win a contest to go and have lunch with Robert Downey Jr. or something like that. It's the same sort of thing here.
Beautiful. Oh, for a second there, I thought
At least that's what I've been led to understand.
For a second, I thought somebody didn't get their prize, and I felt so bad. I'm happy you got it, Robot.
No, fortunately, it sounds like Robot Inversion got their gift.
Well, next up, Doodle Do. You're welcome to the stage, Doodle Do. Looks like they have a turkey, potentially, as their picture. Doodle Do. May have to go on to somebody else. Okay. How about Monster Expert Danny 7? We missed the first 6, but we're here for the 7th. Monster Expert Danny 7. Let's hear your question. There we go. Hello.
What's up?
Nothing. How are you doing?
Everything's alright. My question is, well, I know if it's answerable, but my question is, how many seasonals can we expect to come out?
Good question. Good question.
Great question, monster expert Danny. How many seasonals? How many seasonals can we expect to come out? Well, there was a revelation recently, a new term that was coined in Monster Handler reference material to refer to Punkleton, Yule, Schmoochel, Blabbit, and Hula as the core seasonals. And this group of 5 is separate from the other seasonals that we have discovered to date, namely Gobbledygook, Jamboree, Clavavera, and of course more on the horizon. If we, for example, apply the exact same logic as used on Ethereal Island with 5 base elemental types, and we use the core seasonals as these new 5 base elemental types, well, I will let you do the math.
Tease. Blue Bulls, I am inviting you to the stage. Oops, wait, there we go. Where is it? There. Blue Bulls, welcome to the stage.
Hello.
Hello.
So I'm taking a break from my unnecessarily long questions about monster biology because I noticed that most of the magical monsters have breeding and incubation times that are shorter than fire elemental in MSM with the same amount of elements. And the only exceptions being the pure magical hybrids on Magical Sanctum, which I just thought was kind of weird because both in like when they were released and also because you have to have Firehaven before you get any of the magical islands, like it just seemed like it would make more sense if the magicals took more time. So I was just kind of wondering, like both from a lore standpoint and from a video game design standpoint, like why exactly that is the case.
I love
what an
this
excellent question, Looples. It's always been important for us to reserve fire and that sort of class, and everyone that belongs to that class is sort of the pinnacle as being perhaps some of the most important monsters in the monster world. Now, of course, several magical monsters are also fire hybrids, but strictly speaking, they belong to the magical class, and when it came time for us to sort of design them as a group, to sort of put them together and sort of take a step back and observe them all together, we did want to make sure that we didn't have any sort of number creep, and things just kept getting bigger and bigger over that time. So as we were designing and rolling out the magical islands, we wanted to sort of potentially give people a little bit of a breather, of a reprieve, and not just have them be as time consuming as the fire monsters themselves. And also, it's just fun to mix things up every once in a while. And of course, our guiding principle, like I said at the beginning, is that fire really continues to be perhaps the most important element, a very foundational element to the mythos of the monster world.
Great, thank you for the question, Bluepool. Let's welcome to the stage here, Dapper Thrumble. Dapper Thrumble, you've been invited to ask your question. You disappeared. Maybe you don't want to ask your question anymore. Okay, that's fine. I'm fine with that. In that case, we will invite Riff Rocker, the Riff Rocker. Welcome to the stage, the Riff Rocker.
Hello?
Hello, what's your question?
Hello!
In Dawn of Fire, apparently the Magicals are in the Wonder Mine. Do they ever come out at one point to say hello to their natural counterparts? Or thing?
Great question.
The Riff Rocker, what an interesting question. I was not aware, or at least my research does not suggest that the magical monsters are hiding in the Wonder Mine. My understanding from a chronology standpoint, is that the magical monsters basically all sprang into being after, and a great deal after, the dissolution, the breaking apart, the cataclysm that rocked the continent and separated it out into the natural islands. It's my understanding that every magical monster is a comparative newcomer to the monster world, but if I have in the past alluded to the fact that magical monsters were hiding in the Wonder Mine, I do apologize. I must have misspoke. Either that or I've got to go review my notes.
Dapper Thrumble, I see that you've asked another question, so we're going to give you another shot here. Maybe you accidentally hit the wrong button. Nope, you've disappeared again. So we will not return there, I guess, then.
They're
okay.
playing with us.
They are. They're playing with my heart. That is for sure. Let's go with No Pinging Scuplin. Hello, No Pinging Scuplin. How's it going? Hello?
Oh.
Are you going to make a revised version of the My Singing Monsters Handbook that were released a few years ago?
Thank you for your question, No Pinging Scuplin. The My Singing Monsters official handbook actually released all the way back in 2014. And of course, what was both great and what was both frustrating about the official handbook, and we worked with our partners at Egmont on it, of course, is that oftentimes as we are changing things, as we are moving things around, and as we are adding things, those kinds of resources that exist in print form often fall out of date very, very quickly. A great example of this, and that even refers to stuff that's been around for a very, very long time, is that recently we did sort of a balancing review pass of My Singing Monsters and wanted to make sure that we sort of changed up our thinking about how to make different parts of the game accessible to different people, and we rebalanced all of the island costs and some of the castle upgrade costs and the obstacle costs as well. So it's one of those things where just as soon as something gets transcribed on paper, it may change the day after. So so that we always make sure that our resources are up to date, we've definitely been skewing more digital these days. It's a lot easier to keep up to date, a lot easier to keep accurate, and so at this time there are no plans, unfortunately, to revise or to put out a new version of the official handbook.
But if you have the original one, it's a keepsake now, so you're very lucky to have it. How about let's get Waddle D Unmasked up here to ask a question. Hello, Waddle D Unmasked.
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Great, okay, so I was wondering, have any of the monsters ever thought to, say, have any of the flying monsters ever thought to fly down to where Colossals are standing on and maybe find out what's down there?
That's a great question, Waddle D Unmasked. Yes, for those monsters that are endowed with the gift of flight, obviously the sky's the limit for them, and you'd think that they would venture off more often and sort of explore the worlds around them. An important thing to consider, of course, is that the islands as they are depicted in My Singing Monsters are not necessarily to scale. They're sort of visual representations of the island as a whole, but in actuality, even a monster as large as the Entbrat, for example, which I know is not winged, is just a tiny infinitesimal speck as compared to the girth, the enormity of the plant island Colossal. So it's one of those things where even if they tried to embark on an adventure down there to try and figure out what was going on there, I think that we're talking about a scale that is just so large that you wouldn't even be able to sort of see what you were looking at down there. And generally speaking, it's sort of shrouded in mist there down as you head further down the Colossal. So most monsters tend to just stay up top.
Excellent. Let's invite in here. Oh, Dapper Thrumble,
Thrumble,
you made
you're here.
it.
Wait. I'm
Yeah.
trying.
No, we can hear you. You're good.
Okay,
We can hear you.
Okay, phew, sorry, it wasn't showing me green on my
No
side,
worries.
sorry. I wasn't playing with y'all, I've never really done one of these stage
Oh,
things
we were
before.
just teasing.
I deeply
we were
apologize.
just
No, dude,
No,
don't
it's okay.
apologize.
It's okay.
Happy to have you.
Okay, so, my question is it deals with Starhenge. Galvana and, what's his name, Glacier, they sing that whole Rootitoot thing. Does that have anything to do with the monster Rootitoot himself? And if it does, why?
Interesting.
Dapper Thrumble, I can confirm that that is just a series of syllables, and that they are not, in fact, calling out to refer to the monster Rootitoot. It is very funny, though. It does represent, I believe, a singular occurrence of a monster singing the name of another monster. I'm trying to I'm racking my brains here to try and think if there are any other examples of that. But you're right. It is sort of funny that both of those monsters sing out, and it sounds like Rootitoot. But no, that's just sort of coincidental.
I think you're forgetting on.
Although I gotta give love to Rootitoot. I love Rootitoot.
I think you're forgetting on Plant Island when Noggin goes. The part of the Plant Island song where Noggin goes, "Mammoth, mammoth, mammoth." You forgot that part. That would be another instance.
Oh, sorry, you're right. I'd
You-
forgotten the famous mammoth.
You had me there for a second. I was like, really? But no.
No. Welcome to the stage! Exclamation mark! Ench skull, and then numbers.
Oh.
Hey.
Hello.
How's
Is
it
this
going?
thing on?
Yep, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Alright. So, I have a question about the rare and epic seasonals.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they only appear on Shanty during their special event if it's supposed to be, like a hangout where they're all supposed to, take a vacation from those events?
Good question, Ench Skull. It's worth remembering, of course, that in terms of sheer numbers, the rare and epic forms of any monster appear in much smaller numbers than their common counterparts. And so, from a game mechanics standpoint, to reflect that, that's the decision that was made. Of course, canonically, Seasonal Shanty, you're right, exists as a destination, a resort, an opportunity to kick back and relax for seasonals of all types. And of course, as more seasonal monsters are discovered and eventually added to Seasonal Shanty first, it's sort of understood canonically that they've always all hung out there. But, of course, that's not always the case for our monster handler human understanding of events, and we sort of discover things in dribs and drabs. Yeah, we just wanted to make sure that just like the challenge and the prestige associated with getting rare and epic seasonal monsters on the main islands, that experience would also be true on Seasonal Shanty.
Excellent. Next, we're going to invite to the stage Justin. Justin. Welcome, Justin. Oop. Looks like Justin may be having the same issue I was having with the microphone not being connected to the right microphone. Well, Justin, we'll let you sort that out. If you figure out the mic situation, we'll come back to you, hopefully. Techno TV. Come on up. Hello.
Hello?
Hello, Techno.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, I have 2 questions for you guys.
Ask away.
All right, my first question is, will we ever get a natural quint-elemental monster? And my second question is, will we ever see the magicals again?
Great questions. Thank you. Matt, you're muted. Oh, there we go.
I was muted.
Yeah.
I'm back. There is actually a fabled natural quint-element monster, or at least there was one early in the development of My Singing Monsters that may one day see the light of day. Some know it as Mimic. And it may one day figure into one of our monster projects. It hasn't found a home yet, but maybe someday it will. And with respect to the magicals, obviously we are continuing to discover rare magicals, so that there's still quite a bit of the family tree of magicals left to discover. But what we're really looking forward to, and what we're really sort of interested in exploring next, is learning a bit more about mythical monsters. We expect that there will be some news on the mythical front in 2022. So we're sort of excited to learn more about that. The magical family is pretty big. From a numbers standpoint, it rivals and maybe even sort of slightly surpasses natural and fire monsters. But I hope my math there is correct. I'm trying to think of my big monster handler family tree flowchart there. But yeah, much like anything else, never say never. Who knows? Maybe there's more out there.
Beautiful. We're gonna have two more questions. This second last one comes from Internet Explorer. Internet Explorer, the Internet Explorer. What's your question for us today?
Quick question. So, with Air Island, it's a colossal, like, just floating in the air, or is it just standing in the ocean and it's like really tall?
A good question.
That's a great question, Internet
colossal
Explorer.
question.
I've never considered that different colossals may be different heights. Just like I am much shorter than either Monster Handler Mike or Monster Handler Tyson, it could be that the Air Island Colossal is just exceptionally tall, or, as you posited, that it is in fact perhaps even floating up in the sky. I'm not really sure. Obviously, the environment, the ecosystem around Air Island would suggest that it is situated at quite a high altitude. But that could also just be perhaps the specific environmental factors around the Air Island Colossal. I'm not entirely sure. We do know, of course, that the Titan's Gigacheeps do tend to fly very high up in the atmosphere of the monster world. But as far as the Air Island Colossal, yeah, I'm not entirely sure. The theory that you put forth, that it's perhaps standing in the ocean and it's just super tall, I think is just about as valid as any.
Great. Matt, can you give me a number between 1 and 20?
17.
Okay. And can you give me a number between 1 and 6?
3.
Okay, that's how we're gonna determine our last question here today. Where are you? There you are.
Just doing some advanced calculations over there
Dream
with the numbers.
35. Welcome to the stage, Dream 35.
Okay, so how many monsters in the last quint-element? All about let's say 1 quint, 4 quad elements, a 6th element, and a quad-element. So that's it. Okay.
Excellent.
Many of them.
How many?
How many of them?
How many quint
Total?
and quad? Yes.
This feels like a
Donify.
stumped question to me, Dream 35. So there are 6 quint-element monsters. There are, I think that there are 15 odd-element monsters. Well, no, actually, I'm just thinking about in terms of fire and natural. I don't know. I would consider this to be a stomp.
You definitely got
as far as
stumped.
I'm concerned.
I like that you know, the way of the old, we used to end with a stumping question, and here we have today. And of course, you got stumped because that's what you do, Matt. You get stumped.
Yes, it's true. How fitting that the last question asked on a Handler Hangout in 2021 is a stomp.
It's great. It's great. Now, before we end,
Poetic.
I will just say, Monster Handler Matt, do you have any final words for our folk here in 2021?
A final 2021 sign off. Obviously, the year of the monster is nearing its end. It's been like a crazy, exciting, and busy year for us monster handlers. We had My Singing Monsters, the board game. We had My Singing Monsters come to Steam. We have My Singing Monsters Playground come out. It's been so busy and so rewarding. Very exciting for us to continue exploring more of the monster world. And that shows no signs of stopping. This was the year of the monster, but of course, next year in 2022 is the 10th anniversary of My Singing Monsters. So you best believe that we're there, and we're thinking about all kinds of exciting things and experiences and ideas that we can bring to you, our beloved community, next year. So thank you so much for continuing to support us monster handlers. It really means the world to us. And yeah, happy monstering.
Beautiful. Tyson, do you have any final words in this year 2021?
Yeah, sure. It's been a great and fun year. I love that the community. I just want to thank that everyone kind of welcomed me in. This is my first year as a monster handler, so it's been great getting to know the community, getting to know all the lore and stuff. So I'm very excited to continue in 2022.
Yes, and we look forward to hearing what the family name is of. I believe that was that
Yes,
Clakula?
I was going to say that. Yes, that is my task. No one can let me. I'm not going to forget about this. I'm going to get a nice, satisfying reveal soon.
Beautiful.
Everyone,
I can't wait.
Mark it in your calendars, even though we don't have a date yet. But hey, we'll announce one yet. This will be a monster handler. This will be a monster handler Tyson event where it's going to be a grand event where it's a grand reveal. Don't worry, everyone. I will not disappoint. This is really my big chance to prove myself as a monster handler. So yeah. The stakes are high, but I think I can do this.
You're not gonna.
I'm sure you will live up to the expectation.
Well then, yes. With that, we look forward to seeing you in 2022. It's been great talking to you guys over the last few months here, and it's been exciting sharing all the different things that we've brought to the game and additional games during 2021. But like Matt said, though the year of the monster is over, the 10th anniversary is just around the corner, and we are excited for what we will share with you in the next year.
And of course, there's the Festival of Yay that hasn't even
It's
kicked
not
off
even done yet. That's
to
the.
celebrate
We still have a whole
this year,
festival
too.
here. So
we still got stuff to do.
Oh yeah, there's definitely still things to come. But yeah, I guess there's only one last thing to say, and that is